Warning, I swear a lot.
It is 22 to 1 in the PM, AM. It's the middle of the day and you're watching The Foreman. I'm your host, Foreman, and today I wanted to talk about the progression of graphics and kind of the state of new releases in games nowadays, because I feel like there's a lot to talk about there. So I went round to Sweetman's a couple weeks ago or something, I can't remember the specific date, and we played that tech demo that was released for The Matrix. Probably should have talked about it back then when it was more fresh in my mind, but your boy don't roll like that. I just keep things stored up and rely on my memory. And it was very impressive. I have to say, very, very impressive, as in the graphics look practically lifelike. It is absurdly detailed, it's absurdly well done. But here's the thing, and this is a bit of a, I'm not sure what the term is. This sentiment has been repeated many times over the progression of video games as a whole, because back in the days of I think even the PS1, people were like, oh man, graphics will never get better than this. This is the pinnacle. And then you go back and play Resident Evil 1 now, and such a sentiment is laughable, because Jesus Christ is little square block people who wave their arms around when they talk. But I feel, and I could definitely be wrong on this, like I said, that we're kind of approaching a point of diminishing returns when it comes to graphics. Because games already look exceptionally realistic and detailed. Many games do. Most of the modern CODs are exceptionally lifelike. Ghost of Tsushima looks incredible. Even on a PS4, but on a PS5, on a proper TV like at Sweetman's, it looks insane. It looks insanely good. That's kind of just it, though. We're kind of getting to the point where graphics are so impressive that they aren't impressive anymore. You know, what do you go into this game expecting? Well, I've seen from the trailer it has realistic style graphics, so it's just gonna look realistic, and sure enough, it did. And it doesn't, we've gotten to the point where it just doesn't impress me anymore. I don't need to see every pore on a character's face. I don't need to see the tiny hangnail they have coming off of their left index finger, right? It doesn't matter anymore, really. Now, if games were coming out and they were perfectly stable and running perfectly well, there would be no complaint here. I'd just be complaining over something that there's no point complaining over. It's like, hey Foreman, why bother whining about progression? So surely if games are getting better, that's a good thing, but that's just it. Games are coming out really fucking unstable recently, and I say recently, this has been going on for a while, but it seems to be becoming more and more prominent, in recent years. Cyberpunk is an obvious example. Cyberpunk is a very good looking game when it loads properly, which is about 20% of the time. And you get more used to seeing the world in a complete clusterfuck of a state, and people's faces looking like PS1 textures, and there being no textures on the walls, in fact, that the graphics don't really matter anymore in that game, because the game can't handle it, the game can't load them properly. So it leads you to question, why bother? You may as well, if they had knocked back the graphics of that game like an entire fucking generation, and instead put out something more stable, yes, people would have complained, because some people out there just cannot play a video game unless the graphics are perfect. But I think it would have been better received, at the very least. My point, I guess, is that we're currently at a stage where we are pushing forward even further with graphics technology, and that's great. You know, that's cool. Anything to make games better is great. But I feel that the focus is a little misguided. I feel right now, all developers really, should be knuckling down on making their games run more efficiently. More focus now needs to go on gameplay and stability. Because a lot of games that are coming out now play very similarly as well. I love Tsushima, but it plays like a lot of other games, funnily enough. In fact, many people sort of look at it as like a Japanese Assassin's Creed, which is slightly unfair on the game itself, because there are more aspects to it than that, but it's not entirely inaccurate. And I recall from videos going up online that Tsushima had its fair share of bugs coming out. Nothing major, right? Nothing that would ruin that release. Tsushima came out in a very good state, but it did have bugs too. And it's like, all this time that is being put into making sure the graphics are pristine, it feels, it just, like I said, it feels misguided because games are not coming out in stable states. Look at Battlefield, whatever the fuck that one's called, 2042? I don't know. I haven't played it. I don't need to play it. All I need to do is look at my Facebook and see 1,000,001 screenshots and videos of the game just not fucking running properly. And it's like, what's the focus here? Should that rifle have every last bolt and rivet and scratch perfectly detailed onto it? Or should the game run properly? I feel like that's a pretty obvious answer. Maybe I'm wrong. But these are video games. You know what I mean? Functionality is the most important aspect. Even if you're making a purely narrative experience, the game still needs to function. It doesn't have to be filled with gameplay. There's nothing inherently wrong with like walking simulators, for instance. And yes, it would be important for a walking simulator to be pretty, but the game would still have to function. You have to be able to move around properly. People's faces have to load in properly. The world has to present itself properly. Otherwise, all that work put into making the graphics look as good as they do is a complete waste. It's a complete waste of time if the game doesn't function. The worst example, I think, might have been those fucking GTA remakes, which didn't look very good and ran like shit, which is like, wow, how could you fall at both hurdles? It would be impressive if it wasn't so depressing. It does feel like we're starting to lose sight of what actually matters when it comes to putting out a game, like I said, which is functionality and gameplay. There are exceptions to this rule, but I don't know, man. Like, I play Bloodborne. Bloodborne is one of my current series, and I'm not saying that game couldn't look better, but I'd say it looks good enough. I'd say Bloodborne holds up now, and that game came out... Let me do some research. Alright, Bloodborne came out in March 2015, almost 7 years ago now, and it looks great. It looks great. Most recently, I fought Ludwig at time of recording, and he looked incredible, and the boss stage looked incredible. And instead of focusing on having the best possible graphics it could possibly have, the game seems to focus more on lighting and art design and theming to produce something that was visually pleasing, or at least provided the desired effect from its visuals. The game's nearly 7 years old, and it looks and performs better than a lot of what is coming out now. Not because the graphics in Bloodborne are better, but because it can support itself. Cyberpunk looks terrible, but not because it looks terrible, because it doesn't run properly. If it ran properly, it would look great, but it doesn't. Fallout 76 would have looked, I mean, I'm sure it looks great now, because, you know, several years worth of updates, I'm sure the game runs perfectly fine now. It would have looked great back then, but it didn't look great, because it didn't run properly. More focus needs to be applied to allowing developers to actually finish their fucking games before putting them out. This is the most important thing. I think it stems from things such as like buying pre-orders and shit like that, and giving the publishers the idea that the game has to release at a certain time in a certain way or it won't make any money, because then they cut development short, but of course it has to have the prettiest graphics because that makes the trailers look good, which will make it sell. And we need, I don't know what we can do specifically other than to just, I don't know, but we need to try and encourage them to break this cycle, because at the moment all we're getting are games that are practically worthless on day of release. And that's not on. I remember when I was younger and I'd get a game as it came out and I was excited to play it. Now, I see a game come out and I'm like, I'll fucking wait. Frankly, I'm just gonna wait. Because it's not gonna be in a playable state upon release, so give it a minute. Let them hash out a couple patches first, which, you know, is good for me, but it's not good for the developer, because they don't make sales. And if they don't make sales, they probably won't be given the time to work on those patches, because if the game doesn't sell, they'll be like, well, why should we bother patching it? No one's playing it. Bearing in mind, people would play it if it was patched, because then the game would be finished, and then people would play it. Skyrim is often referred to as an incredibly buggy game, right? And it is. I'm not saying it isn't. But I bought that practically on day of release and played it, and you know what? It functioned. Everyone jokes about Skyrim being the epitome of like bugs and sloppy design. Compared to a lot of what is coming out now, the release state of Skyrim was like, it's like a shining bronzed Adonis compared to what we're getting. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all, and it pisses me off because publishers, not the developers, let's be real, the developers are just trying to make a fucking game. The publishers are literally playing us off as mugs. They know we'll buy it, so they don't need to wait until the game's finished. They just push the developers to release it now. And that can't keep happening. We've had so many high-profile releases that have been utter disasters, and no one seems to be learning the lesson. We act like we're learning the lesson, but we're not. We keep saying, give development more time so the developers don't have to crunch, but developers are still crunching. We keep saying, wait till the game is finished, work on bugs more than anything else, but buggy games are still coming out. I don't know if you remember PS1 and PS2 games, but you couldn't patch that shit, which means you had to make a game that was fucking finished before you could release it. And DLC wasn't a thing either, so the game had to be fucking finished before you released it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there is no value to being able to patch stuff after the fact. I think that's a good mechanic. I think that's a good system to have access to. Because there are some games on the PS1 and PS2 that have pretty dire bugs, which could have benefited from a post-launch patch. But relying on post-launch patches to make your game acceptable is just not on. It's not good. If you're releasing a beta, say you're releasing a beta. If it's early access, say it's early access. Do not dress it up as a 60 to 70 quid full release. And then tell me, oh yeah, we're just working it. We're just, we're still fixing it. What do you mean you're still fixing it? Fix it before it comes out. Surely, you wouldn't charge someone for a service on your car, and then they give you the car back and they're like, oh, but we're still working on it though. What do you mean you're still working on it? Fix it, then give it back. I don't need it right now. It's worthless. I can't use it. This is kind of strayed away, I think, from... it's still... Technically, this actually is still what I was talking about, because it's talking about the state of releases as well. Yeah, no, I'm still on topic. I thought I was going off on a tangent, but no way. I'm still right in between the lines. It's all good. It's difficult, and I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong on this entirely. Like, I should mention, perhaps, I don't know if I've mentioned it before in Foreman Talks, or indeed in any video I've made, but if I am wrong, and I don't just mean you disagree with my opinion and you don't, and you have a different opinion. I mean, if I am objectively wrong, as in like, Foreman, there are facts, actual facts, that dispute what you're saying right now, please tell me. I can accept being wrong. I can't accept continuing to be wrong. So if you're like, no, Foreman, there is literally facts that dispute what you're saying and disprove it, please tell me, because I don't want to live in ignorance, right? This is a discussion. It is just me talking, I guess. That's the video. But the purpose of the video is not just for me to talk. It's to talk about it and for us to converse about it. So if you disagree, or if you know things that, there are facts that 100% dispute me, let me know. But I'm getting too hung up on this. My point is that I feel like, and this is, I'm just putting this out there, it's not necessarily correct. I feel like a good way to fight this would be to stop pre-ordering things. Stop pre-ordering. Because you're essentially giving them money without finishing the product. Now, if you support them, if you're like, I support this game, I want this game to do well, and I want the company to do well because I like the games they make, I want the devs to do well, fine, I suppose. That's your choice, and it's your choice how you invest your money. If you want to invest in the company and invest in the final product, fine, buy a pre-order. I ain't gonna tell you not to. But if you're just like, oh, that game looks cool, I think I'll pre-order it. No, don't. Wait. Always wait. Wait for it to come out. Then see what people think. It's just for your benefit more than like what I want, than any agenda I have. I don't want you to waste your money. I don't want anyone to waste their money on getting a game, and then it turns out to be shit. And then they're like, wow, I'm like 60 quid out of pocket. That's a substantial amount of money. I can't even fathom spending that much at the moment. My money can't go that far. The most information that devs and publishers, mostly publishers, get from you is through your money. What you buy is what you're telling them that you want. Okay? If you keep spending money on pre-orders, that tells them that selling something as a pre-order is a good idea. If a game comes out as a buggy piece of garbage and you buy it and you pre-order it and you buy it, you're telling them that's okay. If they release a game and it barely functions but it makes good sales and it makes good money, you're telling them that that's okay, that they can keep doing that because it's profitable and it's not really going to affect them in the long run. Most people don't remember the disastrous release of Fallout 76 right now. And you know what? Bethesda knew that people would forget. That's why they weren't that fussed. Most people don't remember that whole fucking episode with the canvas bags. Or like, what is it? The points. Those weird little in-game currency points. And the fact that the game was just a fucking wreck. People don't remember. People forget. And that's precisely what publishers count on. That you will forget. And you'll either go back to their game eventually anyway, or you'll buy their products again in the future. And you can't. We can't do that anymore. We can't. Because these problems are just gonna get worse. The relevance to the Matrix, I'd say, is that we played the tech demo and like it was choppy, which is not unsurprising. It's a tech demo, okay? I wasn't expecting a sleek, perfect performance, but I'm like, okay, you've put this beautiful thing in front of me, and it's very nice. It's very nice. But it doesn't perform. It doesn't perform now. How's it gonna do like game day? How's it gonna do when it releases? How is this gonna function? Cyberpunk didn't function, and it wasn't half as like ridiculously realistic as that was. And if that's gonna become the new norm, because when you do something like this, you set a bar that every other dev and publisher feels they need to meet. Because most of game development is a big dick-waving contest, at least in the AAA industry, that everyone has to match each other and then see if they can go a little bit further. Every fucking game that comes out is not gonna function. They're gonna be buggy pieces of like crap. They're not gonna function. I think this is why I've started moving more towards indie over the past few years, like indie games and stuff. Not because they're free of faults, not at all. Indie games have plenty of faults, of course they do, all games do. But you get the impression, correct or otherwise, that a lot of indie games at least try to make a good fucking game, rather than trying to show off. Or trying to make sales. They are trying to make sales, of course they are. They're selling a product. But it feels like they're trying to make sales by presenting a game that is unique and interesting. Phasmophobia is technically an indie game. I would be really surprised if that dev team has not grown since the game's like release into early access. But Phasmophobia is buggy as well, and it looks stupid. It looks really fucking dumb half the time. But it's a really good, really enjoyable game with an interesting and unique premise and gameplay mechanics. I don't need the character models in Phasmophobia to be pristine and to look like real people. I couldn't give less of a fuck. In fact, it's kind of funnier now that characters look so fucking stupid. I would almost say, I would say that is to the game's benefit. Because the absurdity of like how stupid your character models look, for instance, is at odds with how fucking spooky the ghosts are. And the ghosts don't look that incredible. One's like a little shadow figure, the other is like, sometimes you get like a rotting corpse or something, or a little gremlin-y thing that crawls along the floor. And in the Christmas one, there's a zombie ghost thing that wears a Santa costume, which is really fun. But the ghosts in Phasmophobia don't need to be scary. Or any more scary than they are, I should say. They don't need to be visually impressive. They don't need to look like Ludwig, for instance. All they need to do is exist. Because Phasmophobia's greatest power is its sound. That's a key point, though, isn't it? Everyone's acting like, oh, these new graphics will take gaming into the next step, the next generation, but it's like, graphics, visuals are important, but they don't make the game. There are so many other aspects, and focusing on graphics to the detriment of everything else is not gonna help. It'd be great if you were making films, and animations, but that's not what you're doing. You're making games. Games require gameplay. Games require things like sound, and game feel, and tight controls, and stability in order to function properly so that people can play them and enjoy them. The graphics mean not nothing. I don't want to be too hyperbolic about this, but the graphics don't mean that much. And when you get to things like stylized graphics, for instance, people really liked Borderlands. Borderlands doesn't look realistic. Borderlands has a cel-shaded art style, which was engaging, and it pops out, and people like that. No, I think Borderlands was pretty buggy as well, but you got over it. You moved past it because the game was fun to look at. It sounded good, the guns sounded nice, the gameplay was tight and fun, if a little repetitive, but that comes down to personal taste. I can't really talk them down for that. I mean, for fuck's sake, if you want games where the graphics don't fucking matter, look at Undertale or Deltarune. Slightly less so Deltarune, because Deltarune you can tell some real effort went into the visuals on that one, because the colors pop, the character models look nice, while still keeping that simplistic style. But Undertale, realistically speaking, looks like fucking garbage. Your main character is this little Simpson gremlin with bizarrely yellow skin and like it's at weird proportions and everything's very simplistic. But you know what? Undertale's one of my favorite games. And the visuals don't need to impress me. And in fact, sometimes the visuals in Undertale are actually quite impressive. When you see when you get your first look at the rest of the underground via that bit near Toriel's house. Or when you get to the core's quite visually impressive. And the monster designs are great, but the thing is, the graphics in that game aren't ridiculous. They do what they need to do, which is serve a purpose. They are stylized, and they provide you with the visual elements that you need. And you know what? I said it looks shit, and it does in a pragmatic sense, but it actually looks good. It's actually visually appealing, and so little processing power goes into generating the graphics for Undertale, because there's barely anything there. There doesn't need to be anything there. It does what it needs to do. Temmie's art style works wonders. And I've seen from some of her other stuff that she can do a lot more elaborate things. She just kept it a lot more simple for Undertale, because that's all that Undertale needed. And Deltarune is more elaborate, I suppose, and more detailed, and there's a lot more going on, but it still keeps to a simplistic style, and it's very effective, and it looks great. Now, not every game can be Undertale, right? They can't all have the same extremely simplistic visual design as Undertale, because we'd all get real fucking sick of it. Let's be honest. And plus, it's a 2D plane. You need 3D games as well. 3D games are great. Tsushima is a great example. Tsushima is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. I adore the visuals in Tsushima. And yes, that relies on a really quite realistic graphic style. But they managed to find a balance for Tsushima. I think the Tsushima is kind of the level where we need to stay for the moment. We don't have to stay there forever, but fuck, until developers and publishers can prove to me that they can handle, or prove to all of us, not just me, that they can handle inputting bigger, more impressive levels of graphics into their games and have them function properly, I don't think they should go forward with it. Because they've proven they can't fucking handle it right now. They've proven they're moving too fast. Then they can't keep up. They need to slow down. That's the point. Have any of you ever played A Legionary's Life? I've done it a couple times on the channel. Do you want to know what the graphics are for A Legionary's Life? It's some artwork and dialogue and just text. There's no moving components. There's no quote-unquote graphics in that game, and it's great. It's a great game. It's a fun experience. All of the visuals really take place in your head because the writing is so good that it describes the scenes to you very vividly, and you can picture them in your head. Now, once again, not all games can be that, because some people don't want to have it described to them. They want to be able to fucking see it. But it proves, once again, that you don't need stellar graphics to have a good game. Fire Emblem The Binding Blade still holds up, and bearing in mind that is a game on a GBA, right? It's a Game Boy Advance game, which means it's made for a teeny tiny little screen about the size of your phone. And I've been playing it on a computer and blowing that image up to be on a computer, and you know what? It looks great because the graphics are stylized and it's colorful and it holds up today, and that game came out in like 2002 or something. 20 years, nearly 20 years ago, because we've just entered 2022. Nearly 20 years ago, and that game still holds up. The Pokemon games, the old ones, still hold up because the graphics are stylized, specific, and colorful. Art design, as well, is key. I'm looking at it on my desktop right now, and I can't believe I forgot this example, but motherfucking Cuphead. Do you guys remember Cuphead? I fucking remember Cuphead. It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous game. It looks amazing. And it is entirely because it is stylized and it uses a certain theme and its art design is done in a certain way. It's obviously not realistic. In fact, I'm shocked Cuphead runs as well as it does. And it even runs really well on my computer, which for all of you who regularly watch my show know is fucking garbage, but Cuphead still runs on it because they made something that looks good without tanking the engine. It's possible, and you don't have to go hyper realistic. You can have realistic graphics. I'm not saying every game has to be stylized now, because I think people would get real fucking sick of it. You can't have an abundance of one thing and apply that to everything, because that doesn't work. Tsushima wouldn't be nearly as good if it was like cel shaded or whatever. You could make something good. You could have a really cool idea, in fact, with a cel shaded style Tsushima game, right? With all the bright colors of the Japanese countryside. There's a lot you could do there, but Tsushima itself doesn't need that. Tsushima is proof that realistic graphics can work and can be beautiful and can be done very well without tanking the console or the game. And bearing in mind, Tsushima came out on the PS4 and still looked beautiful, and on the PS5 looks even better. I'm not really talking about PC games at the moment, I guess. I guess I'm focusing more on consoles because consoles are more limited in this respect. You have precious few performance options when playing on a console. So if the game doesn't fucking work, you're stuck. At least on a PC you can turn down the graphics, but on a console, you're stuck. So you need to make sure your game functions if you're putting it on a console. I appreciate I'm fucking shouting and getting quite passionate about this because it's important, or it's important to me. At the very least, it is important to me. Because I did an entire fucking playthrough of Cyberpunk, and I really like Cyberpunk as a game. I hate it as a product. Because as a product, it is, and there is no other way to put this, unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And more than a year from its release, it remains unacceptable. That is not good enough. It is nowhere near good enough. And not in the quality of the game, because the quality of the game is exceptional, but in its stability, in its ability to run, and its ability to exist as the product that it is and do what it is advertised to do, it is not good enough. And we can't have more of those. We can't keep doing this. Battlefield 2042 is not good enough. The GTA remakes are not good enough. It is literally, there is no better term for it, unacceptable. It's not on. I think we're moving towards the end of this one now because I don't think I have much more to say on this where I wouldn't be repeating myself, although I bet an hour or two from now I'll think of something else which would be a really good point and it'll be too late and I'll have forgotten to put it in. But what do you think? I would be really curious to hear what you guys think, actually, because I sometimes feel like, and I know it's not the case because no thought is ever truly unique, but I do feel like I'm kind of on my own on this one, or in the minority. I think Sweetman agrees with me, although he has his own caveats on the opinion, and I certainly don't want to speak for the guy and make opinions for him, because that's not fair. I should really do one of these with him sometime, because he and I have a ton of conversations, and we've been wanting to do a podcast for ages, but, you know, life gets in the way, and this is not relevant. But what do you think? I think we need to slow down in terms of graphics. I think the focus now needs to be on stability on launch. Games need to come out functional. That sounds so fucking basic, but I think it's true. Games need to come out functional now. What a tiny, minuscule expectation for a fucking video game, right? But it speaks to the state of the current situation that is something I'm having to say. Games are coming out in such poor states that now I have to sit here and be like, we need to focus on making games that actually work. That's pretty fucking sad, in my opinion. Once again, though, I'd be interested to hear what you think, because it's possible I'm not taking everything into consideration. It's possible there are things I've missed, and it's possible, distinctly possible, that there are things I just don't know. Because I don't know everything. Just because I have a fucking microphone and a YouTube channel doesn't mean I know everything and I'm right about everything. So, if you disagree with me, you might be right. I'm not the arbiter of all knowledge, and I don't know everything, and I'm not correct about everything. So if you disagree, please let me know. I'd like to get some different perspectives, and, you know, broaden my brain. It's important. Be willing to hear people tell you you're wrong, because sometimes you are wrong. But even if you don't disagree with me, feel free to leave your opinions as well. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, this person doesn't disagree, so I don't care. No, I do want to hear that as well. I want to hear everything. I want to hear what you guys think. But I'm definitely rambling now, and I'm saying the same shit over and over again. Let's end for the day. Thank you so much for watching. I'm very passionate about this topic, I suppose, which is why I wanted to do a video on it, and if it's a bit of a mess because of how passionate I got, I do apologize. But, and I swear I say this every single Foreman Talks, that is kind of the point. This is me vomiting into my microphone. Opinions. And that's it. That's a key point. If you're upset with what I said, bearing in mind, a lot of this is opinions. So, disagree. Please disagree. Go ahead and disagree if you don't agree. But be chill about it. just be chill about it, because, you know, if you post a comment saying, Foreman, you're a fucking moron and I hate you, I'm gonna ignore it. So, if you want to have a discussion, be nice. No one has ever actually been a shit in my comments section, and I appreciate you all greatly for that, actually. You're all, in my opinion, from what I can see, you're all genuinely intelligent people with your own thoughts and feelings, and you're good at expressing them as well. I've noticed this. You're good at expressing your thoughts in calm, civilized ways, for lack of a better term. I appreciate that, and it's why I'm asking you to weigh in on this as well. Let me know what you think. But I am truly rambling now. It is time to end. Thank you so much for watching. Whenever I talk about next time, and once again, I have no fucking idea. I've got a week or so to think up a new topic. I'm sure I'll think of something. I don't know. If there are things you want to hear about or things that you're curious to hear my opinion on, let me know, and I'd be very open to the idea of talking about it, because it saves me a lot of work in having to not think up a topic. But whatever I talk about next time, I hope I see you there. Toodles. Goodbye.